folks, welcome to Netcruzer RC. Here at the Canadian Onroad National, and it's currently day 2. So yesterday was all practice time, and had quite a bit of work to do on these cars. So I got my TA07 set up, and since this is on the darker black carpet, it is ridiculously high grip level, so it's better to run a stiffer chassis. So I added the center brace, lowered the ride height, made a couple of other tweaks as well, and so far this is doing okay, but I'm currently in position 80 at a 105 on USGT. Trucks is up next, and then the stock sedan is after, but it's a full day of racing, and we're just getting started. This is the first day of qualifying. There's another day after this of qualifying, and then a third day of racing. It's 4 days in total, but it is a huge event. This is in an old Target facility. Target pulled out of Canada because they couldn't make money, and now there's this huge facility that was empty in the mall, and they're using it for racing, which is pretty cool. And this track is huge. And all the results are being posted on Live RC. This is a national event. There are racers here that are best in the world. So this is a Can-Am, I believe, race. And then we got some man trucks coming up next. Here's a little pit table after you run your race. And then we got pits over here, and we got pits over there, and I'll go take you out for another tour.
We stand here, you all line up here, we'll move away. One lap when the first car gets back here.
So it's now qualifier day 2, and I just want to go over some of the things that I've been learning through this experience is that you would want to learn for going to a big event like this. First tip I learned is that cleaning your tires is very important, especially if you're trying to break in a new tire. So you run them on the track for a bit, and then you clean them, and you have to clean them with something like brake cleaner. So you'll see almost every pit station around. If you look on the floor or look on the table, there will be a can of brake cleaner. I wish that there was a little bit less harsh chemical that you could use. Now you can use lighter fluid as well, but you spray the brake cleaner onto a rag and you rub the tire down, and all of this black gunk comes off. And if that black gunk stays on your tire, the tire becomes very loose. So after every run, clean with brake cleaner and then sauce it when you're up there to go up on the track. The other thing I've learned about my cars is that I was using these fairly affordable Sky RC Aries Pro motors, and these are okay at an amateur level, but at a giant event like this, on a bigger track, you do need better motors. So today, my friend Noah has kindly lent me his Team Scream motors. So I've been running these Team Screams today, and we're just in the middle of the first qualifying round for today. So I have run this car on the Team Scream, and I am 1 second a lap faster consistently with this motor. And the interesting thing is you go to a better motor, a more high RPM motor, but it's still a stock spec class 21.5 motor, but you have to gear down. If you keep your same gearing, you will cook your motor. So I've had to reduce the timing and gear way down. I even added an active fan. There is a reason why these events take 4 days long, is because you're constantly tweaking on your car. You break it, you tweak it, you run it, then you adjust it, and you're trying to get them better and better. So yeah, those are the things I've learned so far. Besides, also, there was a multitude of things that were wrong with this car. So thankfully, Rami in Zen has helped me greatly this weekend, tuning my TA07. First of all, my front spool was built incorrectly, and my belt was twisted. So we have fixed that. Well, my problems came about from me doing upgrades to this car. I upgraded my pulleys. I put on these nice aluminum pulleys on the spur gear, and I had recycled the bearing that comes with the stock unit, thinking that would be fine. The bearing is different, and it was actually binding up. So I had to swap out the bearing in my pulley, fix the front spool, as well as I had some other minor tweaks as well. There are little spring clips in here on your axles, and those can be in the wrong way. And if they're in the wrong way, they can separate on acceleration and cause resistance. So we now have this car finally set where it's running pretty well. So this is my pit area over there, and then after you clean the tires, you have to come in before each race event. You have to come over here and get your car teched. Your car over to this gentleman here, and he checks your ride height to make sure that you're compliant for ride. And then you go over to the next gentleman, and he checks for voltage to make sure that you're compliant for voltage. Then you come over to this station here. This is the only allowed area where you're allowed to add tire sauce. So it's all been sponsored by SXT 3.0. And then while there's a car on the track, the next people are waiting to race, and the people before that are getting tech checked.
513. Leader down the straightaway into the corkscrew section. He goes one way, now back the other. Across the top of the tee, working his way in.
So yeah, pretty cool. Amazing setup. These are the driver stands, which are actually quite tall. You're up quite high. So when you're ready to drive, you go up, and there's 12 spots.
All right, let's get them out here, guys. Let's get them out here. We are on the Can-Am stock book.
And then once your races are done, then these are your heat sheets, and this is where you get to see how you did. So, John Kennedy. So I did a 15.506. My fastest lap was a 19.1 average, and I had a very terrible 91.68 consistency, but I did better yesterday. My laps were slower. I had a slower overall time. I was actually a much more consistent driver. That's by far the best consistency I've ever had. 97.45. I think that's the best out of this whole group of cars. Although that was with my older motor, my slow motor. I was doing 20s, and with the motor I borrowed today, I was doing 19s. I'm an okay driver, but my setup and my car and my equipment is not really up to this type of a level of an event. So I am learning that if you really want to compete at a world-class event like this, you got to put money into your electronics and your batteries, your motors, and really dial in your cars. Make sure that there's no rolling resistance, get everything as free and loose as possible. All good tips you should do with any kind of RC racing type event, but at a big event like this, I'm noticing it has been a lot more of a problem than I would get at my local track. So we've got some people here selling some things. This one is this is Hyper Hobbies with their little setup. This is Team Scream. These are the motors that I'm testing today, are all Team Scream. Here we got Destiny, X-Ray. We got a big setup from Skycraft Hobbies. A lot of Team Zombie stuff is here. Clips and adapters and batteries.
1 minute left.
So Glover putting himself in that 16 spot. Looks like he's going to hold.
A lot of equipment from Skycraft Hobbies.
On the cusp right now.
And while this isn't racer specific, they do have a K1. They have one of the new TRX4 Blazers, which is pretty cool. Looks good. It's a good looking truck. So yeah, they're selling some stuff here. And look at all the bodies and the paints. So this event is sponsored by Protoform.
The final 5 seconds. All right, drivers, that is time.
These are mod cars. These are ridiculously fast.
Clock is done. Race clock is still going. Race clock is still going.
Look at how absurdly fast that is. That's crazy.
JB going to finish off with 1 spot up to 11, sneaking that away from Luke Pippin, who goes 12, Harrison Holt 13, Ryan 14, Mike Wise 15, Luke 16, Alex 17, Blake 19.
That's just the end of one of the mod classes. I'll take it back over to some of the pit area.
Final. No one's over the last position now.
There's also some film crews here. A lot of very brightly colored bodies. Remember when I said I wanted to paint my body up and make sure it's bright? That's why, because it's very hard to see. There's also a little oval here. This is on the older style carpet. This is what they call gray ozite, and this is what we race at my local club. But this carpet is not competitive event style carpet anymore, so they're just here having some fun on that practice lap. It's the black carpet over on the real track is very high grip. You have to dial down the grip level on your car so you don't traction roll it over and over again. It's pretty crazy actually. So here's a bit more of the pit area. So there's over 250 registered drivers and around 620 plus registered cars at this event. It is by far the biggest event I've ever been to, and it goes for 4 days straight. Day 1 was practice, day 2 and 3 are qualifying, and then tomorrow is racing all day long. You hear from I've been here from 7 a.m. until midnight for the past 2 days. It's fun. It's worth it. I'm glad I came to the event. It's taught me a lot about equipment and prep and cars, and then just driving on a track like this at this level, working on consistency has been a worthwhile experience.
All right, everyone, number 4, so we already have you looking at Saturday, 3Q out of the front of 5, level hay there, on the 2 spot. February 2 handstand, we're at 3:45 left on the clock. Way looking for 4,000 overall, max 5, Yon to 6, Mark pressure up 2 to 7, pressure up to Zuki, Randy down. 20 laps is the number we have to be on.
So far I've been placing kind of mid-pack, and I'm hoping to bring that up today. Alright guys, hope you enjoyed that. If you enjoyed this, hit that like button. If you're new around here, subscribe. If you want to talk to me, leave a comment down below. And as always, thanks for watching. Good luck, James. Love James's paint schemes, they're great.